Imagine a breathtaking scene. A vast forest with ancient trees reaching up to the sky, creating a lush canopy that filters the sunlight into patterns of dancing shadows on the forest floor. The gentle sound of the wind passing through the leaves and the distant song of birds complete the serenity of this magical place. Here, we meet our protagonists, three young adults, Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan. Friends since childhood, they decided they needed a break from the hustle and bustle of urban life. Ralph, with his adventurous spirit, was the first to suggest the hike. Cindy, always seeking a balance between her career and personal life, saw the forest as an opportunity to reconnect with herself. Jonathan, recently going through a breakup, was searching for answers and a new beginning. With backpacks on and hearts full of anticipation, the three ventured into the forest. Each step was a mixture of excitement and apprehension as they moved further away from the familiar and plunged into the unknown. The trail, initially well-marked, soon turned into a narrow path flanked by plants and shrubs, requiring the friends to navigate carefully. As they advanced, their conversation flowed naturally, reminiscing about old stories and sharing dreams for the future. But as the sun began to set, a certain restlessness set in. The path seemed longer than expected, and fatigue started weighing on their bodies. Then, as they turned a corner, they saw something unexpected. Under a majestic fig tree, an old Buddhist monk was sitting in deep meditation. His presence radiated such intense peace and tranquility that the young people instantly felt a wave of calm. They hesitated, respecting the sacred silence of the moment. The monk, sensing their presence, slowly opened his eyes and smiled. Without saying a word, he made a welcoming gesture for them to approach. Curious and feeling that this encounter was no accident, Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan sat in a circle around the monk. There, in the heart of the forest, they began a journey that would change their lives forever. The sun was almost hidden behind the distant hills, tinting the sky with orange and purple when Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan approached the monk. Sitting around him, they felt a different energy, a serenity they had never experienced before. The elderly monk, with a white beard and eyes that seemed to hold centuries of wisdom, observed them in silence for a few moments. "Welcome," he finally said, with a soft and welcoming voice. "What brings you to this deep forest?" The young people exchanged uncertain looks about who should speak first. Cindy took the initiative. "We are looking for something more in life. We are tired of the rush, of worries. We want to find a greater meaning." The monk nodded as if he had already expected that answer. The search for meaning is a noble journey. Many come to this forest seeking answers, but the answers lie within each of us. Are you willing to learn? Ralph, always the most impetuous, quickly responded, "Yes, we are. But where do we start?" The monk smiled, satisfied with their enthusiasm. Change begins with small steps, habits that transform our daily lives. I will share with you 5 teachings that, if practiced with dedication, will bring peace and clarity. Jonathan, who had been silent until then, asked, "What are these teachings?" "Patience, young one," the monk replied. "All in good time. First, tell me about yourselves. Who are you, and what do you really seek?" Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan began to share their stories. Ralph talked about his stressful career and his desire for adventure. Cindy spoke about her longing for balance and purpose. Jonathan opened up about the pain of his recent breakup and his search for a new beginning. The monk listened to each word attentively, as if each story was a piece of a puzzle. After a long moment of reflection, the monk began to speak again. "Each of you carries a burden, and that is what brought you here. But know that within each of you there is a light that can illuminate the path to a full life. And that light is kindled through simple yet powerful habits." The young people leaned forward, eager to hear more. The monk continued, "Tomorrow morning, before the sun rises, return here. We will begin with the first teaching, morning gratitude. Now, rest and reflect on what you have shared. Your journey is just beginning." With those words, the monk closed his eyes again, returning to his meditation. The 3 friends stood up in silence, deeply touched by the encounter. As they walked away, the forest seemed more welcoming, as if every tree and leaf was there to guide them on their new journey. Dawn brought with it a light mist that hung over the forest, creating an almost magical atmosphere. Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan woke up before the sun rose, their hearts beating with a mix of anxiety and excitement. Without exchanging many words, they followed the path back to the fig tree where the Buddhist monk awaited them. They sat again in a circle around him, eager to discover the next teaching. The monk, noticing the curiosity in their eyes, began to speak. Life is a sum of our habits. Small acts repeated daily have the power to transform our existence. Many seek great changes, but ignore the power of small actions. Jonathan, still trying to process the idea, asked, "But how can we be sure that these habits will really make a difference?" The monk smiled wisely. "Let me tell you a story. There was a village that suffered from water scarcity. Every year they faced severe droughts and struggled to survive. One day, a traveler suggested they dig a well. The villagers started digging but gave up after a few days, thinking they would never find water. Only one man continued digging a little each day. Years later, he found a source of water that never dried up. His small daily efforts saved the village." Cindy, feeling inspired, asked, "And the next teaching? What else can we do to transform our lives?" The monk looked at her and said, "All in good time, young one. Today, practice gratitude. Tomorrow we will talk about morning meditation. Each habit is a step towards inner peace and lasting happiness. Return tomorrow at dawn, and we will continue our journey." With that, the monk returned to his meditation, and the three friends stood up feeling lighter and more hopeful. The walk back to camp was peaceful, and the forest seemed to embrace them in a new and comforting way. On the third day, the first rays of sun painted the sky with soft colors, and the three friends, now more in sync with the rhythm of nature, returned to the fig tree. The monk was already there, as if he were an eternal part of the landscape. His eyes shone with accumulated wisdom, and his warm smile welcomed them once again. "Good morning, young ones. Are you ready for the second teaching?" asked the monk with a serenity that seemed to infect the surroundings. "Yes," they replied in unison, sitting around him, eager to learn. "Today, we will talk about morning meditation," the monk began. "But first, I want to hear about your experience with gratitude. How was the first step of this journey?" Cindy was the first to speak. "I began to notice things I never thought to be grateful for. My job, my health, even small moments of silence. I felt a change in my perspective." Jonathan agreed, adding, "Me too. My problems seem smaller when I start the day focusing on the good things." Ralph, always the pragmatist, admitted, "I was skeptical, but I realized that starting the day with gratitude makes me feel lighter and less anxious." The monk smiled, satisfied. Gratitude is a powerful ally. Now, let's move on to the second habit, morning meditation. Meditation is not just sitting in silence. It is a practice of self-knowledge and centering. Jonathan, curious, asked, "But how can meditation really help us in our daily lives?" The monk responded with another story. There was a young warrior who trained incessantly, but always lost his battles due to lack of focus. One day, a sage taught him to meditate every morning, to clear his mind before any action. Over time, the young man not only improved his skills, but also his ability to make decisions and remain calm in stressful situations. Meditation gave him the clarity and inner strength he needed. Ralph, impressed, asked, "So how do we start?" "Close your eyes," instructed the monk. "Breathe deeply and focus only on your breathing. Let the thoughts come and go like clouds in the sky." The three friends followed the instructions, initially finding it difficult to calm their restless minds. But gradually, tranquility took over. The sounds of the forest, once distractions, became part of the symphony of meditation. After a few minutes, the monk guided them back to full consciousness. The practice of meditation, like gratitude, should be daily. Start with a few minutes and increase as you feel comfortable. The key is consistency. Cindy, feeling more connected to herself, commented, "I feel like I can face any challenge after this." Jonathan added, "It's as if my mind is clearer, less chaotic." Ralph, always seeking practical logic, concluded, "Now I understand. Meditation prepares us for the day just as a warrior prepares for battle." The monk nodded. "Exactly. Morning meditation is the second brick in the construction of a full life. Keep practicing gratitude and meditation, and tomorrow we will talk about the third habit, journaling. With these words, the monk returned to his meditation, and the friend stood up, feeling a new wave of determination and purpose. The forest once again seemed serene and welcoming as they headed back to camp, ready to embrace the next habit that would change their lives. The next morning, the soft light of the rising sun enveloped the forest in a golden mist, creating an atmosphere of mystery and beauty. Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan, now accustomed to the morning ritual, followed the path to the fig tree, feeling an increasingly deep connection with the environment around them. The monk greeted them with his usual serene smile. "Good morning, young ones. Today, we will explore the third habit, journaling." Cindy, always concerned about her diet and health, was particularly interested. "How can journaling influence our spiritual journey?" The monk responded with a story. There was a Zen master who taught his disciples to eat with full attention. He said that each meal was an opportunity for meditation, a chance to appreciate the present moment. One of his disciples, always hurried and distracted, decided to follow the master's advice. By eating with attention, he began to notice the flavors, textures, and origins of the food. This practice not only improved his digestion, but also brought a new appreciation for life and the work of the farmers who grew the food. Jonathan, who often ate quickly and thoughtlessly, asked, "So we should eat slowly and pay attention to each bite?" "Exactly," replied the monk. "The practice of mindful eating teaches us to be present, to value each moment, and to recognize the interconnectedness of all things. When we eat with gratitude and attention, we nourish not only our bodies, but also our minds and spirits." Ralph, always seeking practicality, wanted to know, how can we start eating mindfully in our busy lives? The monk suggested a simple exercise. At your next meal, choose a food. It can be a fruit, a piece of bread, anything simple. Observe it closely. Notice the color, texture, and aroma. When you take the first bite, do it slowly, savoring each detail. Think about the people who grew, harvested, and transported this food to you. Feel gratitude for each step of the process. The three friends agreed to try, eager to experience the practice. Sitting under the fig tree, the monk guided them in a brief mindfulness exercise. Each chose a fruit and began to observe, feeling the texture and aroma before taking the first bite with full awareness. Cindy, who chose an apple, commented, "It's amazing how I never really noticed the taste before. It's like I'm eating an apple for the first time." Jonathan, with a piece of bread, reflected, "I always ate without thinking. Now I feel a connection with everyone who was part of making this bread." Ralph, biting into an orange, said, "This really makes me slow down and appreciate the moment. It's a completely new experience." The monk nodded, satisfied. Eating mindfully is an act of self-love and respect for the world around us. When we practice this mindfulness, we transform a daily action into a sacred ritual. The young people felt a new appreciation for the act of eating, understanding that the practice of mindfulness could be applied to any aspect of life. With this new habit, they felt more connected to themselves and the world around them. "Now take this practice into your daily lives," said the monk. "With each meal, remember to be present and grateful. Tomorrow, we will talk about the last habit, planning your day." With these words, the monk returned to his meditation, and the friends stood up, feeling a deep satisfaction and a new sense of purpose. The walk back to camp was full of conversations about the experience, and the forest once again seemed to vibrate with renewed and welcoming energy. The next morning, Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan walked to the fig tree with a sense of renewal and anticipation. The monk's teachings were already making a tangible difference in their lives, and they were eager to learn the last habit. The monk, sitting in his usual serene posture, greeted them with a smile. "Good morning, young ones. Today, we will talk about the last habit, planning your day." Ralph, always seeking efficiency, was the first to ask, "How can planning the day help us on our journey?" The monk responded with a story. There was a farmer who started his work every day without a clear plan. He was easily distracted and at the end of the day felt he had not done enough. One day, an old sage suggested he start each morning by planning his activities. The farmer followed the advice and gradually realized that his productivity increased, and he felt more fulfilled. Planning the day gave him direction and purpose. Cindy, reflecting on her own chaotic life, asked, "But how can we plan in a way that really makes a difference?" Planning the day is more than just making a list of tasks, the monk explained. It's about setting clear intentions and priorities. Start each morning by taking a moment to reflect on what is really important. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve today? How can I do this most efficiently and with less stress? Write down your answers and keep them as a guide throughout the day. Jonathan, who always felt overwhelmed by his responsibilities, commented, "I think this can help me focus better and not feel so lost." "Exactly," said the monk. Planning the day helps us stay focused on what really matters. It gives us a sense of control and purpose. And remember, leave room for flexibility. Not everything will go as planned, and that's okay. The key is to have a clear direction. The three friends took out their notebooks, ready to learn the art of planning. "Close your eyes," instructed the monk. "Breathe deeply and think about what you want to achieve today. Write down your main intentions and how you plan to achieve them. Keep this planning simple and straightforward." With this guidance, they began to write. Ralph, always practical, noted his main work tasks and reminders for meditation breaks. Cindy, seeking balance, wrote about her professional goals and moments of self-care. Jonathan, in search of clarity, planned his activities, leaving space for moments of reflection. After a few minutes, the monk asked, "How do you feel?" Cindy smiled, feeling more organized. "I have a clear plan and feel prepared for the day." Jonathan, relieved, commented, "This really helps me prioritize what is important and not overload myself." Ralph, surprised by the clarity of his own thoughts, said, "It's like I've found a part of myself that was hidden." The monk nodded, satisfied. Remember, young ones, planning is a daily practice. Start each morning with a moment of reflection and preparation. This will bring clarity and purpose to your actions. The three friends felt a new layer of understanding and connection with their own goals. The habit of planning the day, combined with the other teachings, was creating a solid foundation for their lives. "Your journey is just beginning," said the monk. "Continue practicing gratitude, meditation, journaling, mindful eating, and daily planning. These habits together will transform your lives." With these words, the monk closed his eyes, returning to his meditation. The friends stood up, feeling deep gratitude for the encounter and the teachings received. The forest, as always, seemed to vibrate with renewed and welcoming energy as they walked back to camp, ready to embrace each new day with clarity and purpose. Days passed since the monk's last teaching. Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan continued their journey, now armed with the 5 powerful habits they had learned. The forest, with its welcoming silence and untouched beauty, became the backdrop for a profound transformation in their lives. Ralph, the adventurer, began to implement the habits in his work and personal life routine. The practice of gratitude helped him find joy in small daily victories, while morning meditation brought a mental clarity he had never experienced before. Journaling became his ally in organizing thoughts and emotions, and mindful eating transformed his meals into moments of reflection and appreciation. With daily planning, he discovered a new efficiency, balancing his responsibilities with time for adventures and rest. Cindy, always seeking balance, found in the habits an anchorage for her hectic life. Gratitude helped her maintain a positive perspective even on the most difficult days. Meditation became a sacred ritual, bringing peace and centering. Journaling was a revelation, allowing her to express and understand her emotions deeply. Mindful eating connected her with her body and mind, and daily planning brought an organization that significantly reduced her stress. Cindy felt more balanced and fulfilled than ever. Jonathan, the most skeptical of the three, was surprised by the depth of changes in his life. The practice of gratitude softened the pain of the breakup, helping him find beauty and value in small things. Meditation brought an inner peace he never thought possible. Journaling became a safe space to explore his feelings and chart a new path. Mindful eating transformed his meals into moments of connection with himself and others. And daily planning gave him the clarity and focus needed to rebuild his life with purpose and direction. The three friends, united by this transformative experience, decided to return to the fig tree to thank the monk. They arrived at the spot with hearts full of gratitude and reverence. The monk, as always, was there, serene and present. "Monk," began Ralph, "your lessons have changed our lives in ways we never imagined. We are deeply grateful." The monk opened his eyes and smiled. "You did the work. I merely showed the way. Keep practicing these habits and share them with others. The world needs more people living with gratitude, clarity, and purpose." Cindy, with tears in her eyes, said, "We will carry your teachings with us forever. Thank you for everything." Jonathan, with newfound confidence in his voice, added, "We promise to honor these teachings and continue growing." The monk nodded, satisfied. "Remember, the journey never ends. Each day you have the opportunity to learn and grow. Live with intention and compassion, and life will reward you in ways you cannot predict." With these words, the monk returned to his meditation, and the friends, feeling blessed and renewed, said their goodbyes. They walked through the forest, no longer seekers of answers, but practitioners of deep and transformative wisdom. The forest, a silent witness to their journey, seemed to whisper promises of new discoveries and adventures. Ralph, Cindy, and Jonathan knew that with the habits they had learned, they were ready for any challenge life might throw their way. Their journey was just beginning, but now they were prepared to tread the path with open hearts and clear minds. Thanks for watching. What did you think about this story? Leave your comments below, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. We always bring teachings for a modern life. See you in the next video.